Morning, Esme.
Good morning, Paul.
Thanks for coming to talk to us again today, going through some key questions our clients are asking. So the first one that are UK nationals still permitted to buy a property in Cyprus after Brexit?
Yes, of course they are. Just as prior to Brexit, they can buy up to 2 properties in Cyprus without any issues. The only difference is that they now need to apply for Council of Ministers approval, which is a very straightforward process, and their legal representatives would take care of that. And of course, if they wanted to buy more than 2 properties, they can always do it through a Cyprus company.
Excellent. We hear recently as well the banks in Cyprus are now offering mortgages.
Yes,
Give us some more
indeed, that
details
is
on
the
that.
case, yes, and we have a lot of clients actually from the UK currently taking advantage of this and purchasing property through mortgages.
Due diligence, what steps will you take to ensure the property is free of encumbrances, debts and any legal issues?
I would say that the first and foremost duty of any lawyer dealing in a real estate transaction would be to follow through thorough due diligence and conduct thorough due diligence on the property. What we would do would be to check the title deed, make sure that it is in the vendor's name and it's freely and fully transferable. We would make sure during our search that there are no encumbrances or mortgages or any third-party rights on that property. We would also check that there are no notes on the title deed or any prohibitions. And obtain the official plans and permits for the property, making sure that all the necessary permits are there for the transaction.
What are the applicable taxes and fees associated with a property purchase in Cyprus?
Okay. Prospective purchasers would be expected to pay stamp duty. That is calculated as 0.15% on the amounts up to 170,000, and thereafter it's 0.20% on any amounts over 170,000. Then we have transfer fees. Transfer fees are payable on resale properties. Now, they calculated as follows. You have 3% on the first 85,000, 5% on the next 85,000, and then it's 8% on any amount above that. However, this amount is currently reduced by 50% due to an incentive given by the Cyprus government in order to basically increase sales. Okay. Now, it's important to note that transfer fees are calculated on a personal basis. So if 2 people are purchasing property together, transfer fees would be reduced accordingly.
I know also from Cyprus, overall buying cost compared with a lot of other countries is significantly less.
Yes, indeed, that is the case.
What is the legal process for a resale property?
Okay. The purchaser would find the property that they would want to purchase. They would make an offer, and a deposit would be paid to secure and reserve that property and keep it off the market for them for a specific period of time. During that time, the purchaser would engage a legal representative who would conduct thorough due diligence on the property as previously discussed. At the same time, once everything, the due diligence is completed and is satisfactory, the contract terms would be negotiated and finalized between the legal representatives of each party, and the contract of sale would be drafted to incorporate all those terms. Contracts of sale would be executed and signed, and typically 30% of the purchase price would be paid on signing the agreement. When 30% is paid, in order to secure the purchaser's interests and that amount of 30% that has been paid, the legal representative would lodge the contract of sale at the land registry. What that would do would be to create an encumbrance, a charge on the land in favor of the purchaser, thus making him the equitable owner of the land. Yes, so the 30% payment secures the purchaser through the lodging of the contract for specific performance purposes. Once the contract of sale is lodged, we would proceed with obtaining a Council of Ministers approval for the purchaser in the event that they are non-EU nationals, and the vendor would proceed to obtain their tax clearances. When both parties have the necessary permits and tax clearances, we would apply at the land registry for an appointment to proceed with the transfer of the deeds into the purchaser's name. And once we get the appointment, title deeds would be transferred to the purchasers on the day of the transfer, and simultaneously with the full payment of the purchase price. That's the day that the transfer fees would be paid at the land registry.
Residency. Does purchasing a property in Cyprus provide any advantage regarding residency?
Yes, through purchasing property, purchasers are able to apply for the different residency permits that exist depending on what they've purchased. If they buy a new build property of a minimum value of 300,000 plus VAT, they would be eligible to what is called as the fast-track residency route, or as some people call it, the golden visa. Okay? In order to qualify for the golden visa, a fast-track residency, purchasers would buy a property of 300,000 plus VAT. They would need to show that they have a secure annual income emanating from abroad of a minimum of 50,000 euros for the main applicant, and 15 for the spouse, and 10,000 for any child. And once they obtain that residency, they can keep it for life, and they only have to visit the country once every 2 years in order to maintain it. There is no requirement to be physically present in Cyprus all the time in order to keep the fast-track residency permit.
And on the income that you mentioned as well, that just has to be proven once, correct?
Yes, that is correct, and it needs to be proven either by tax declarations or a letter from a certified public accountant verifying the annual income. Even if clients purchase a resale property, they still have the option of applying for permanent residency, but they would be going through what is called the category F route. It does take longer, however, it is an option that is available to purchasers who are not able to meet the requirement of the 300,000 plus VAT, or who opt to buy resale properties as opposed to new builds.
What is the most important piece of advice for people wishing to purchase a property that want to relocate to Cyprus that you could give?
Okay, I would say that preparation is essential. To seek legal advice from the outset in order to prepare correctly, know what is expected of you, is very important, and it will help the process be as seamless, as smooth as possible. What we do as a law firm, and it is our firm's policy, is to provide clients with a complimentary consultation right at the outset to discuss about the client's personal circumstances and to be able to give them a tailored guidance on their specific circumstances, to be able to prepare accordingly and know what to expect.
One thing that we've had from our clients is some amazing feedback from your services. We are a completely independent company and we use multiple law agencies in Cyprus, but the last few feedbacks that we've had from the clients, they've all been really happy. I remember one of the clients actually saying that they text you UK 7 p.m, 9 p.m. In Cyprus. They didn't expect a response at all from you until the next day, and within 20 minutes you come back to them. They were, because they've dealt with UK lawyers before, they said this is not the normal thing that happens, so they were delighted with that, and with your assistance and our assistance, they now are very happy with their new home, their new life in Cyprus, and they've written us a really nice reference for that, so thank you also for that.
You're welcome, Paul. Thank you.